Hey everyone, this is Greg, your host of Goddamn Gamecube. Thank you for tuning in to Season 2. All episodes in this season were conducted virtually over the internet because of the coronavirus pandemic, so please excuse any audio glitches or oddities you may hear during these episodes. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Goddamn Gamecube, the best video game podcast there is. This is our first real episode since the hiatus.
I mean,
and
listen,
it's very exciting.
I would say this quote-unquote hiatus was not we didn't want one.
No one did.
But no one. Yeah, that's a good quote. No one did. But this is our first real virtual episode of season 2.
Where our plan is to release these, we're gonna have a little catch up, which you may or may not have heard, depending on whether you want to hear us talk for an hour about nothing. So we had that, and now we're getting back into our old reviews and breaking down these games for you. So let's jump right in here, and this is something that it's pretty important for us because we started this whole thing as a Resident Evil retrospective. And this is something that we talked about at the time. The first night we recorded all this, we were speculating about the Resident Evil 3 remake. And here it is. It came out at a very odd time. It was pretty much right as many states were locking down. And I got this weird feeling. This is my first impression playing this. Is I got a really weird feeling about how prescient or how timely it was. That it was in essence, you're watching a city go through a pandemic.
I was about to say the same thing. I remember when the pandemic first started, there was another Resident Evil sort of unintentional link where the virus was spreading on a cruise ship. And I feel like 2 Resident Evil spin-off games that was also the plot line. and my quote aged really badly, but I was watching a newscast and I was like, oh, Corona spreading on a ship. Isn't that how one of these Resident Evil games started? And then, here we are, almost 10 months later and it's still happening. But back to what you said about Resident Evil 3. I mean, I picked this game up curbside because Best Buy was doing curbside buying. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know what the right word is, whether it's irony or coincidence or whatever. But I picked this game up curbside. It's Resident Evil. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's coronavirus, and it feels weird to play. You know what I mean? But
it was especially because this one in particular is very much on the side of basically seeing it happen in real time. Whereas, let's say the first 2 remakes are kind of divorced from the action. They're more like after the fact or tucked away in a mansion. And this one is really kind of like going through like the parapsychology of what it would be like to live through something like this. And it's not, as it turns out, it's not too far off. So I want to get into this. We spoke about it a little bit as we were catching up. This game kind of came and went for me. In essence, I was looking back. I listened to our old Resident Evil 3 episode to see what we thought would happen and what we'd like to see when this remake came out. And it honestly, while it's you can shut it off after I say this if you want, but my review is that it was a very enjoyable game, but it fell short in so many places, which is really frustrating because it had so much potential to exceed the original and live up to what everyone loved last year, which was the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I think you and I felt pretty similarly about that. I don't know if you want to say a few words yourself.
Yeah, I mean, just an intro here. You and I think, have talked about this at various occasions. The original Resident Evil 3 is not my favorite. I don't hate it, but it's just not my favorite. And when they announced, the surprise sort of Resident Evil 3 Remake, when they sort of did the gotcha where they announced a Resident Evil 3 Resident Evil multiplayer game and Resident Evil 3 Remake was the single player campaign.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, they're going to do it. And then, but I thought to myself, okay, I don't like the original one that much. I really want them to expand on this if I'm going to sort of give it my seal of approval. And it went, and we'll get into this, but it went in the other direction.
Yes. I really don't know. Well, I know a couple reasons why it did this, but honestly, you mentioned this. I think we were talking about it a couple months ago, and you said all these things needed expansion. They didn't need contraction. And there's so many things that really kind of get short shrift. That said, I did enjoy it. I would recommend playing it. At the end of the day, just don't pay like $60 for it.
I remember I actually waited for, I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually waited for it to be discounted. I did not pay $60. I paid $38, something like that. I saw these reviews come in about it's very short. There's a lot of, it wasn't expanded upon at all. There is stuff that's cut from the original. I said, I'm going to wait on it.
Yeah. I don't like at this point, considering that a certain degree of goodwill has been built up by Capcom now with these Resident Evil games, but I didn't have too many qualms about spending full price, which I did. But I honestly, like in terms of like the normal person who doesn't give a shit about this franchise like we do, definitely wait for the price drop. I wouldn't know what to say. I think $30 would be a fair price for this experience.
Yeah, we'll get into all the nitty and gritty about this game. It's just I can't really. Maybe you and I differ a little bit. I can't recommend this game unless you get it at a discounted price.
Yeah. So let me just start things off. I was trying to figure out what went wrong here.
Yeah. Go ahead. I can give you some thoughts right off the bat, but go ahead.
So I as I normally do, I went back into some interviews and sort of behind the scenes stuff about the making of this game. And what I discovered was that the intention was to tie up what they called the Remake trilogy, which is interesting because it kind of puts the nail in the coffin of another Resident Evil 1 remake, which is, good, I'd say.
That game's too precious to me, even though I sound like a dickhead saying that. I don't want another remake of it, but go ahead.
It's perfect the way it is, so whatever. And they did mention, I was curious about the timeline here because when they announced it, it was a lot sooner than a lot of people expected, myself included. So there was some overlap with the development of the Resident Evil 2 remake. So there wasn't much time to learn from its successes. So they borrowed, obviously, a couple things from it. They borrowed like a lot of assets and systems from it, but they really didn't have, I guess, time to kind of process. I imagine that it was like two completely separate teams who had different, kind of interpretations of these games because they talked about wanting to honor the action-oriented values of this game, which I don't think are very important. So
I think that was a big mistake, but
I agree. Some of the original team worked on it, including the original director. They said they wanted to improve the pace of the story, the character designs, and some of the environments. I would say some of these are successful.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh,
many.
but I was just like, wait, really? Were those the goals? Because I played this game and I don't know about that, but go ahead.
No, I would say the character design much improved. And I'm talking about like sincere, like trying to make these believable characters and not like a broken translation meme, not like Jill Sandwich or whatever.
Yeah. I understand.
And I think that was extremely successful, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Their intention was to create a more vibrant, expansive Raccoon City, a better outfit for Jill, thank God, and higher agility for Nemesis. generally speaking, a more streamlined and action-oriented experience. I think just sort of the direction from the get-go was wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the thing. The original game is not as horror-oriented as the previous ones, but it is scary, and for different reasons than the other two. I normally kind of, when we do these retrospectives, I try to address some of the features of these games and what makes them unique and distinct. We do this in most of our series. And in this game, I was thinking about sort of what this game does differently. And honestly, the story is more what it takes away. Because the only thing that I was thinking about that it does that is I guess, because I think it's fair to compare this gameplay wise to the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's more fluid than the original. You don't have to argue that. But the compared to Resident Evil 2, the only, I think, addition is they kind of replaced the awkward dodge mechanic from the original 3 with a sort of a quick step for Jill and a counter move. It's kind of like an elbow check for Carlos.
Yeah. I think
and that's like it.
I know. I just feel like they replaced the awkward dodge move with a slightly less awkward one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I think we talked about this when we were playing it. I didn't like it. I almost feel like I always say I wish in Resident Evil, I love the game, but I wish it was you were a little bit more mobile. And then they tried it and I don't like it. Like it feels stilted and weird. And it feels, you know what it is? It kind of made the game into a cinematic where like, oh, you dodge. Now you're in slow-mo. I don't like it. I don't know. Because
I respect that they were trying to not like it. What was it? It was 6 where you're doing the rolls, right?
Yeah, but 6 is also like really bad. So
yeah, I know, but I'm talking about, because that was one thing, a positive that you mentioned, I believe, when we discussed that game is the rolling. So I was curious which one you prefer.
It feels a little bit more realistic, where you're a little bit more mobile. But the game is so bad that's the only redeemable quality. But the thing about Resident Evil 3 that besides a lot of things that bother me, it's just, I said this about Resident Evil 2 as well. When a zombie gets up close to you, they keep making it more and more of a cinematic and not a gameplay element.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's just when a zombie grabs you, you can't avoid damage anymore by mashing the button properly. In Resident Evil 2 Remake, they had a defense item, which worked fine, but then they replaced defense items in this game with the dodge thing. But it's a little bit finicky, and it's now a cinematic because it goes into slow-mo. It feels weird. I didn't like it. I don't know what you think. I didn't like it.
No, I kind of like, I think I liked it with Carlos. I thought that was pretty fun.
Oh, just punching people. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, like he just kind of like shoves them, and it gets cool when you do it against those very special enemies that crop up later.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, the knife is now back to being like a main weapon. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's, you know what?
You were fond of your knife only runs. That's why
I love it. I think what happened was I think, and I don't make video games, but they compromised on something and they just never give me what I want.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, in the Resident Evil 1 remake, you have a knife as a main weapon and defense items exist.
Right.
You have both. And in this game, the knife is a main weapon, but it can't be used as a defense item, and you have to use this finicky dodge system, which turns it into kind of a wacky slow-mo experience. And it almost feels like they just keep throwing darts at this one specific part of gameplay I don't like.
Yeah.
And I just keep not liking it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's multi-layered.
Yeah.
The lockpick is pretty much like a key that you use in certain locks, like downtown, because it used to be different.
I was gonna say this too, where like I don't know if we're getting too far ahead of ourselves, but I feel like there was that one major downtown section of the game where you had to do all that unlocking, and then the rest of the game doesn't do that, and so now that feels weird.
Yeah.
This whole game, I feel like before
Let
we
me
go on
play
to
as the
whatever-
master of unlocking.
I know, but I just feel like before we go on to any other topic you want, my review of this game is it feels weird. And it just so many aspects to it, like almost like what's the phrase, like square peg round hole.
Yeah.
It feels weird.
Yes.
But yeah,
it does.
You can go whatever detail you want. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna mention the enemy palette. You got your normal zombos. You got the bugs. You got your bugs.
You got your buggies
at the power plant,
the
which
pinky
are
bugs?
whatever.
Oh God.
And
go ahead.
What I thought they did exceptionally, I was just mentioning with Carlos's hip check, was the return of the hunters.
Ooh,
I thought they were really good in this game. They do the infamous zoom cinematic when they first appear, when you see it through their perspective, which was awesome. Yep. And of course, Nemesis himself is back. He's looking a lot better than he used to.
And he's just as linear as ever, because they fucked this up too.
I mean, because here's the thing. I think he is very cool in when you're exploring the city, and he kind of is more or less fulfilling. It's like when you go from Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, and the second one is like he can chase them even better. He's made of liquid and everything. That they have the same relationship, Mr. X and Nemesis. He's like a new and improved version. And I mean, like, it just sucks because if there was more time to explore, they shuffle around the events of the game significantly. So that leads to significantly less time where he is able to pursue you normally.
And
which
it's
is
just, I was just going to say that what really bothered me, like, about this game in general, I felt like the demo and the demo level was the best part of the game, because it was the part of the game where you can explore. Nemesis is going to come out. You have to kind of maneuver around him and get to different objectives. And the rest of the time, it's very scripted.
Yeah.
Like, he's chasing you down hallways. There's that building with the fire. And I'm just like, it feels arcadey, and it's weird. And what I also hated, is just, there were various parts of the game where if you quote unquote defeated him when it was optional, he almost like dropped a loot item, and he like drops this giant suitcase out of his ass, and you could
he I believe did that in the original game too, if you took the time to fight him.
Yeah, I'm saying he did. I'm not saying it was new to this game.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it feels weird. Like it feels weird.
Bro, you don't get it. It's just bizarre.
No, it's bizarre. No, it is, because
he had it on his model, if he had like a weapon case on his model,
it feels like you're looting him, and it's fucking weird. And it makes it. There was one moment in the game where I liked Nemesis, and I keep going back to this. It's the demo level downtown. Yeah, where I remember, I think my girlfriend was watching me play this. And I was in a situation where I'm in the donut shop, I'm sipping my coffee, and I know Nemesis is right outside the door. Donut. Yeah, I'm in Top Donut. And so I said, what the fuck am I gonna do? I got like 8 zombies out here. Nemi's ready for me, and I said, fuck it. I'm gonna toss a grenade and run for my life. And I did it, and it was awesome. Yeah. And I said, dude, this was super cool. And then the rest of the game, there's that hallway part where he has like a laser on you and he shoots rockets at you. What the fuck game is this? Like, it's so weird.
I forgot about that.
I didn't, because I didn't like it.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know which is worse, if it's forgettable or.
You know what? But I don't want to go too far yet. I actually really wanted to talk about the first 20 minutes of the game.
Before you do that, here's one feature that I forgot to mention that I don't think do anything with, maybe a little bit. There's like, when you unlock trophies, you unlock certain items in the game.
Wait, what?
Did you do any of that? When you do some kind of challenges or trophies or something, or achievements, I guess, you unlock different items. Like you can unlock her Star's outfit and the samurai edge.
Oh, I didn't even know that, but okay, sure.
Yeah. No, it's really just a passing thing.
I just to me that's just I didn't even know that, and it feels even more arcadey to me.
Like tacked on.
Yeah, it's just this. Ugh. It's just
so.
You go ahead.
I just wanted to discuss like. Obviously the graphical fidelity is terrific. It looks as good as 2 did. But I was really disappointed by the design of the city personally, compared to how memorable the city was when I played the original version of 3. And I think a lot of this stems from because that game took place during the day and this one took place at night. And I was very attached to the way that like it had that the Resident Evil 3, the original, had that like hungover feeling of like there's a bunch of like Shaun of the Dead when he wakes up and he realizes that everyone is a zombie.
Yeah, and
whereas
it's daytime.
It's like it's otherwise like everybody does the nighttime stuff. Resident Evil 2 did the nighttime, and they obviously just borrowed the engine, which is not made to be seen in the light of day, so they couldn't just palette swap the city and make it in the daytime because they were recycling some of those assets. So I thought that was really disappointing, and I thought that it's good, but it's not. It doesn't have the clutter and the destruction that the original game did. There's a lot more like just mess, and like it looks very lived in. It looks like a mob has been through it. And this game, while it has some nice things to look at, I like all the neon signs and I like the donut shop. It's a little creative, and it has that whatever. It wasn't like some kind of like bird's head or something rolls down it's like a toy shop and it rolls down the staircase at you. That was cool. But I just found it less memorable. I thought all the character designs were pretty exceptional. Motion capture was terrific as always. Voice acting really next level when you're considering this is the Jill Sandwich series.
Right. I guess compared to itself, it's much better.
Yeah. And something else I wanted to notice that I didn't actually notice at the time, but then I went back and I realized it, is that you could do it in the 2 remake. You can't like dismember zombies in this game.
Wait, why did they do that? I didn't even is that true? I don't remember that.
I'm assuming it had something to do with wanting more of them on screen at once, because if you start generating separable limbs for all of them, that like clutters the palette a bit. Like, when you drop too many items in Oblivion, it starts to slow down.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll go with you on it. I don't know.
It's just, I felt like the 2 remake had this
it had the detail,
very strong attention to detail.
Yeah.
When you shot them, it's like they reacted appropriately. This game just lacks a lot of those details. We can get into the opening of the game here. I thought the first person section was pretty well like engaging and effective. I don't know how you felt.
Me too. I was gonna say I'm gonna go back to this a lot. I feel like they really did a good job in the first hour of this game. Where like, in Jill's apartment, when the first person perspective looking in the mirror, that's when the game feels lived in.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, you can talk about this in detail if you want, but like looking in the mirror and clearly she's I don't remember, she's on, there's like medication and she's all, sort of PTSD from the first game. It's kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
Right?
There's like postcards and stuff around, and like she's been talking to some of the other STARS members about, I think Chris, there's some correspondence, and she's got all this like Pepe Sylvia map behind her, like with the conspiracy of the Umbrella Corporation.
And I almost wish there was a little more of that, where I mean, I didn't hate it when like kind of Nemesis like kind of does the what's the thing, the Kool-Aid Man thing.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. You got to get into the game, but I wouldn't have even minded if this game maybe had a little exposition where the virus hasn't really happened yet and you have to walk around a little.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded that. And it's just, they gave you a little bit and I liked it. And
wait, can I ask you this? Would you have preferred if this game was first person entirely?
No. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I think the style from the 2 remake was just, in terms of like how the combat was pretty good and how the puzzle solving was fine. I think you kind of have to retain that, because I think if it felt like 7, I can't say yes or no because there isn't a first person version of this game, but I would say no. I think the third person perspective is fine.
Yeah.
I also, but then again, I like the first person section. There just isn't enough of it.
My follow-up was going to be that it's just bizarre because, like many things about this game, it feels very disjointed to have a prologue where you're in first person and not really learning anything about the mechanics or what to expect for the next couple hours based on just this bizarre 15-minute, first person experience, which is good, but it's just not. It doesn't adequately prepare you for what's about to happen.
I was going to say, the whole game feels very disjointed, and because it does this sort of back and forth, it's not paced well at all, really, throughout the game. I think what happened here is this game is being marketed to the people who love the remake of 2. So they know that that it's a third person over the shoulder game, and so it doesn't matter how they intro it. And so what's unfortunate is that this game feels like DLC to the second game. It feels like that. And it's just, it's so disjointed and the pacing is so off and it's very arcadey at times.
Well, I have some thoughts about that. The DLC angle.
Sure.
I'll get to that in a bit, but I just wanted to expand upon the disjointed nature of and how it's all like kind of broken up and my theories for why that is. This game relies pretty significantly on quick time events for some of its bigger moments.
Yep.
And scripted sequences where you run away. And it's just, I hate those to begin with.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the running away sequences so much because that does happen in some of the better games of this franchise. But if you're like, the quick time events are just like, you made a cutscene and you're putting some button prompts in. It's not like this wasn't finished. Like this could have been, I think they had grand designs on making this a longer game, and they have expressed the intention that they want to make this a yearly franchise, which is always a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
And they wanted to release this with the multiplayer, which was insubstantial, so they could sell it for $60. And I think that lends itself very distinctly to how like they had all these different scenes and sequences that they created for the Resident Evil 3 remake, and they just stitched them together with what were cutscenes, but now they are engaging you with QuickTime events at a bare minimum. With respect to the intro, I do like the way they intro Nemesis, because it starts with a bunch of scientists loading him onto a helicopter, and he's just all covered in like the trash bags, and the black duct tape, and he's got a bunch of caution tape on him, which I think is really funny. But when he comes into her apartment for the first time, it's just covering his face, and it looks awesome, and it looks like he has this big like executioner hood on, and it's so like he's such a machine, like a force of nature, and it's a really like for what she's struggling with at the time, it's such an engaging story wise, not gameplay wise, it is very indicative of what this game is about. Like this is going to be happening to you for the next couple hours. I liked that intro with him a lot. Honestly, from there, you go down to the subway, and I think that was way too soon. I think there should have been way more Jill exploring by herself. She pretty much is immediately rescued by Carlos. She runs into Brad, and he gets bitten by a zombie in this version, which I don't think is as effective because it doesn't establish as well that Nemesis is after Stars. Right. And like that, like if you can say, oh, he's going after Stars members, and you can have him say Stars, and he says it a lot more intimidatingly this time, of course. But it's not as effective as seeing one of the surviving characters from a previous game get killed by the new enemy. And
I didn't even think about that until you said it.
That's what they should have kept it in there. It's like kind of like it's just a not even thought about aspect of the original game.
And it's just what feels weird to me now that you said that. It almost feels like they did that just so you can kill him as Carlos and get an item you need. Right? Because you kill Brad to get an ID card or something. It's very arcadey and very gamey.
Yeah, I mean, like, not that this, I mean, the original Resident Evil has like the mask puzzle and stuff. So there's always some like gamey elements.
But I mean,
to
it's
it.
2020, man. Like, and here's the thing, but if you're also going to pour tens of millions of dollars into remaking this thing, like that, I can't believe I didn't think about that until you said it. Where,
I mean, just a general, like, you know, have the characters' motivations make sense, have the chessboard unfold as you know, makes the most thematic sense. The UBCS is down in the subway. You get to meet all those other fucks.
Yeah.
So they send you out to explore the city, turn the power back on, and that's, as you said, probably where like the gameplay loop is established at its most pronounced.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think after that, I think the game kind of tanks. I think really right when you sort of turn the power back on, and they kind of, you know, it feels like the game makes a jump. You know, like it feels like there's a lot of skipped content. We'll get into that stuff too. Right after you kind of do that main downtown part, you turn the power on. That was your main objective. This game kind of takes a nosedive, if you ask me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it tanks, but that's when the quality really starts to look like a polygraph test.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, you know, we talked about how the city is pretty cool. The bug section is whatever. No, that's later. So you get back on the subway and there's the train crash. And you know, they took the one of my favorite lines from the first game is when she kills Nemesis and she says, "You want stars? I'll give you stars." And then she finishes him off. They put that line in the middle of the game. And it's just like, maybe they thought it was too cheesy for the final moment, but dude, come on.
No, I think what happened is, it's just, I don't know how to summarize this or articulate this as well as I want to. It feels like at some point, right when that middle point of the game happens, they either got rushed, ran out of budget, because that's when this game turns into a hallway QuickTime event game, and that's the rest of the game besides the hospital.
Right. Well, I was gonna get into I mean, they get good reuse out of the police station when you're as Carlos.
Yeah.
And you know, a nice little scene where you get to see how Marvin is infected.
Yes, that's right.
Is his name Marvin or Martin?
It's Marvin.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, you get to see that Brad bites him. That was pretty cool. Just
he actually
seeing,
says
like,
sorry, which is kind of interesting.
As a zombie, yeah, that was pretty interesting. But I just like seeing a little like dovetail moment there. And I believe you see the guy who, it's another officer, right? You see him who shows up in Resident Evil 2. He gets like cut in half or something.
Yep.
That was you know, nice little hand in glove moments. The problem is, it should have been fucking Jill.
Right. Yeah, and I want to say this too. I think they made this mistake twice. This game would feel more lived in if they made you go there. Like, but you sort of, you know, when you like appear at the police station, you appear at the hospital. Like you don't have to actually adventure through the city and get there.
Yeah, which you did in the old game.
And I think, I hate to like go back to games that are so old, but I think Silent Hill 2 and games like that feel a little more lived in, because I have to get to the hospital and it's in a neighborhood. I got to find my way there. I got to get to the school, and it makes sense where they are. Right. And in this game, it's like, dude, we want to see the city. Let us do it.
Yeah, but here's my problem. Not only, you know, Carlos has no attachment to the police station. And it would have been interesting if to see an outsider's perspective if we didn't already have two outsiders' perspectives in the previous game, because Leon is new to the city and Claire is just passing through looking for Chris. So they don't know what they're getting into. If you had Jill go back to the police station, it would be a one-to-one relationship with the player because we already have been through it.
Right, exactly.
So, and not only that, she can go back to the STARS office. She can gear up, take, little passing glances at people's desks. You have it's just like, it's such an obvious blunder. I have no idea what they were thinking.
Me either, dude. I don't know. I can't really expand on that at all. I agree.
Following this, I did like the hospital section a lot.
Yeah, because it feels like it's the only other section that plays like the downtown, where there's actually, you have to it's the whole gameplay. You get keys, explore stuff, get things. It's the loop. It's a pretty cool atmosphere too. There's some spookies in there, and this is when there's that really cool action sequence at the end where it's getting very heated in the hospital lobby, and you have to fend off a shitload of them at once. Yeah, you know what's funny? I actually think that part is pretty fun, but but you're so far into the game, and the game is so disjointed, and it's so weird that it also feels weird, but at least this part is fun.
Exactly, yeah.
It just, the whole game is so disjointed, man. And it's so funny where until you brought that up, I forgot about that part, and I forgot that I liked it because there are so many different things in this game, and it's so disjointed, but you can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it is in the midst of, I didn't even mention that there's a boss fight where I actually like I kind of made fun of it a little bit in our previous episode, but I do like the creature designs for when Nemesis kind of evolves in this game.
I did too. I feel like people didn't like it, but I thought it was fine.
I'm comparing it. My point of reference is when this series has done that in the past, it has looked stupid a lot of the time. I'm thinking about the guy who turned into a Tyrannosaurus in Resident Evil 6. Remember that?
Yep.
So his evolution does not feel ridiculous or forced. He just basically turns kind of bestial, and he kind of turns into a Bloodborne kind of creature, which I thought was pretty cool looking. And there's a very whatever kind of boss battle with him when he's in that state when you're Jill.
Essentially, he's doing the merry-go-round thing on the buildings.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. But it's all because it's the way this game is paced and structured is so bizarre. I forgot that happened already. That's where she gets infected.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
So that's why you have to play as Carlos. So they rescue her or whatever, they cure her, and then that's when the nuclear launch is gonna happen.
Right.
And dude, so number one, there's a sewer section which is
yuck.
Every time we talk about sewer levels, it's oh look, it's our favorite location.
Dude, and I think I remember texting you this live when I was playing it. I said, "Oh my God, is this a sewer level where the enemies kill you if they touch you?" I can't stand this game already.
That part was really awful.
It was getting it got on my nerves so fast.
But I really I cringed when I saw this. The climax, the end of this game takes place in Nest 2.
Dude,
which is a fabrication, and I'm okay, so you guys are recycling this entire and I so basically what I'm gathering the overlap in production is they didn't learn why people liked Resident Evil 2. They just took all the assets from it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And it's dude, you fucking Nest 2, are you serious?
I know. And then I don't know if we're in what direction you want to take this, but they cut content to get it there.
Yes.
The clock tower's not there. The park, like it's weird.
We're about to hit the end of the story, so this is a good enough time as any to get into all the cut content.
Because
which is
I very distinctly remember the end of the first game is the clock tower, right? Or sort of. Yeah, that's when.
That's when Jill gets incapacitated.
Yeah, they kind of jumbled the events in this game.
Yeah, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Something that is crazy to me is because they wanted to expand Raccoon City, but they
didn't.
removed the clock tower. Well, you fight outside the clock tower, but you don't actually go in it. They removed the interior with all the puzzles in the clock tower. They removed the city hall. They removed the press office. They removed the graveyard. They removed the park, and they removed the disposal plant, which the original game ends at.
Yes,
and that's a lot.
Yeah, I think we were sort of revolving around the same topic here. If the goal was to expand, they clearly didn't do it. And I'm not sure if it was budget or time or bad direction or a combination. I don't understand. Because it seems like those things were replaced with I have quick time event,
nothing.
Nemesis chases me down a hallway, I do boss fight, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, well, it's also I was having a laugh listening to our previous episode where we talk about the worm fight, and we were both pretty much okay. That was kind of cool, and it's one of those things where an opportunity like that presents itself. You improve it. You don't just like cut it out. Because
right.
People are like they want a remake of the game because they like it. Like they, presumably like that sequence and they want to see it again. And I have no idea, like the brain leeches or whatever, they weren't in the game.
Yeah.
It's just like so much stuff. So at the end of the game, it's Nemesis becomes gigantic because he's exposed to some like whatever fluid or whatever bullshit. And it's honestly like compared to the original, it's like very easy to beat him. I think maybe first or second try for me.
No, me too.
And she takes out the big. It's a very. I mean, I'm in two minds about this because the original game he gets killed by the railgun, which is like the size of a room, and it looks like this big industrial piece of equipment. And when she takes it out in this game, it looks like an anime weapon.
Yeah,
And I read a very interesting fan theory about the thematic undertones of this game, because in a lot of places, she calls Nemesis like a stalker, and when she kills him, she says, "Next time, take a fucking hint."
Yeah,
and I'm like, and so someone was theorizing that this was like a female empowerment experience. And where Jill is like taking on her stalker. And at the end, when she takes out that railgun, it's like a gigantic like robot dick. I swear to God. I was like, wait, they're onto something here. And it's God. It's like, cause I was like, no, it wasn't that like obvious. And I went back and watched him like, maybe so. So,
you know what? I think to some extent you could say this is a female empowerment game, because besides when they fuck Jill's character up in 5, she is one of the more, what's the word? Like one of the more like well-rounded female characters in the franchise. I don't think there really are any others. She's, like
Claire's okay.
No, but you know what? But like, I mean, we have to talk about the slurs she uses in Code Veronica. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? What I'm saying is like, they had a sort of I don't want to say a blank slate for Jill, but she was the hero of the first game. Good symbol of female leadership. They changed her outfit in this game so it wasn't sexy and stupid anymore, and you had a chance here, to really make her the protagonist again. And she's not bad, but I feel like this game is a missed opportunity, and
I just want more. I guess is my
I think we keep revolving around the same point, where it's stilted, it's weird, it's shortened, it needed to be expanded upon and made feel lived in, but it's compressed and weird. And I got to the end of the game and I was like 4 hours in and I beat it and I said, well, I guess congratulations. I don't like the original one or this game either. You know what I mean?
You made a faithful remake.
Yeah, you made. Yeah, that's. Oh my god! I literally wrote that as a review. I think in our private gaming chat, I said this game is a faithful remake in a way because it is just as unsatisfying as the original one. Great job.
Yeah, well, I mean, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, I like both the original game and the Resident Evil 2 remake more than this. So I don't know. But here, let me just lastly, before we get into an epilogue of sorts that I have, I just want to put a button on this and say that this game's biggest crime happens within the last few seconds.
Do it. Oh yeah. Oh, I know. Go ahead.
Just say it. You can say it.
Oh, you mean how they fuck Barry again?
Again.
Barry doesn't pick you up.
Yeah.
Right? That was the big moment.
We were looking forward to it. We were like, oh man, can't wait for Barry's expanded role in Resident Evil 3. I think you said that in one of our previous episodes. Like that would be a great idea to have him more involved in the plot.
Dude, but you know that could have been an expansion of the plot. Maybe have a tiny segment as Barry where I'm going to get into a helicopter and get in there and help her.
Well,
even if it's 10 minutes.
Let me tell you, here's the thing. I'm looking at this from two perspectives. One is the stupid, cynical businessman, and one is the smart businessman. And what you have here is, okay, so we want to have a faithful ending to Resident Evil 3, but we can't put Barry in there because he's some random guy. Like, the audience is not going to know who he is. Yeah, that's the stupid businessman angle where I know that they considered that and rejected it on that reason.
Yeah.
That is my thesis. So if you were going to do this the right way with almost no effort, like almost none, let me tell you how you would do it.
Do it.
The beginning of the game, when you're Jill in the apartment, there's documentation of all the other STARS members, Barry among them. So you have that planting the seed there. Then when she talks to Brad, they bring Barry up and she's like, oh, they're hunting down STARS members. I hope Barry's okay. Then you don't do the stupid thing and you have Jill go to the RPD building and she goes around the office and she brings up Barry again. So it's like, oh, they keep mentioning Barry. I wonder if he's okay. Then boom, at the end of the game, there he is. Oh, it's this guy we've been talking about the whole time. And he made it out okay. So there's hope.
Dude, can I tell you something weird? I just had a galaxy brain idea. This could be really stupid.
Yeah.
What? No, I mean, you know how they kind of hinted at they're not going to remake the first game?
Right.
What if this is stupid? I'm immediately retracting this, but I'm going to say it anyway. What if you immediately jump into Barry finishing off the tyrant in the first game as his first cutscene? You're in his perspective on the landing pad with the Magnum.
Oh my god.
I'm just fangirling right now. They should not do that. I think you're correct. I'm immediately retracting this.
Yeah, well.
Because I just thought of, then time would have to go by and that's stupid.
Look,
but
a gal can dream.
Yeah, a guy can dream, saying. Right? Anyway, I think you're right. I can't believe they screwed my man again.
That was just really the shit icing on the cake at the end was when it's like you had a pretty unsatisfying experience and then they just couldn't give you that little nugget of Barry.
Dude, come on. I think it's the best part of, you know what? Do you know why it's a big fuck up too? I'm going to tell you why. The remake of 1, it's the secret story within the story is, Albert Wesker is sort of pulling the strings of Barry to betray you.
Right.
And then I don't know how to say this. The canon the canon of the game is Barry makes it up to you in the third game by saving you. Like in the first game, he was sort of pushed by Albert Wesker to fuck you over. And if you saved him in the first game, which you should because it's the story of the game, in 3, he comes and gets you, and that's his arc where, no, he is a good guy, and he helped you when you needed it.
A little bit of redemption there.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I'm not just fangirling the character. That's why I think it makes sense to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And also, another thing that they cut out was when you play the original game, there's some written epilogues for the different characters.
Yeah.
Because Raccoon City is destroyed. And they kind of hint at where the characters are going to wind up, including like Leon and Claire and all those other fucks. And, you know, they could have just tied it in a little bit better, like kind of closed the loop, you know, tied a nice neat bow on the whole. Well, we've remade it. That's it. You know, that's the end of the Raccoon City saga. We're moving on. It's just like, you know, can you just not take at least one shortcut here? Can you just like try a little bit harder?
This whole game was a shortcut, man, for sure, the whole time.
So let me, you know, kind of, I do have a little epilogue sequence planned for us, sure. But I want to get into my final thoughts on this game, in particular. For one, we talked a little bit earlier about it being like a DLC for 2. It does have that vibe, but it was a little bit longer than I was expecting. And like I think if they released this as a DLC for 2, it would have been a bit shorter. I don't think like it would have been, and I probably would have liked that less, but I'm just saying that content of that kind, you tend to get a little less bang for your buck on than even this. This, I think, I want to say I explored it pretty thoroughly, and it took me around like 6 hours.
Yeah, I think I was 5 and change, right under, something like that.
Yeah, whereas I was really expecting it to be like 3 and you're done.
I mean, you could definitely.
You could definitely, but
I think I was right under 5. I don't remember.
I just like I was trying to. I knew I had heard already that it was going to be short, so I was trying to kind of explore every nook and cranny, and I was expecting it to be a lot shorter. So I'll give it that. It kind of exceeded my expectations. They didn't have the mercenaries mode, which everybody loved, and they pretty much replace it with a multiplayer mode that no one played,
including me.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's just a shame.
I don't know. Go ahead. I could give you my final thought unless you want to continue.
Yeah, and just lastly, very little besides wanting to revisit the series. Very little comparative replay value because there's only one campaign and there's not that much to see more than the first time around. I mean, like maybe if I'm running through the series again, I'll just spin through it, but it's like, it's just not, it doesn't have the same, oh, now I can play, Leon B or Claire A or whatever, I don't know. So I have a question that is tangentially related here. Mm-hmm. Here's something that I didn't bring up. They released a questionnaire. I'm not sure if you completed this.
And I didn't get it in on time, but yeah, go ahead.
I did.
Yeah.
And I essentially, because you don't want to be like an asshole and just say this game fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I tried to be as constructive with my criticism as possible because that survey they sent out, it was a big like Google form of some kind, and it was more thorough than I've ever seen a company like releasing an entertainment product. Like, what did you like about this? What did you think about each and every aspect of this game? And I'm hoping that they saw the immediate kind of reaction, and they were like, okay, so how do we fix this? Because they clearly had a B team on it and they don't want to repeat. I think they want Resident Evil to be a successful franchise again, and they are trying to make sure it doesn't veer off into mediocrity again. And I think by sending out that survey, I more or less stated everything I just said to you now, in a professional, positive leaning manner. And something that I was thinking about is, if they did like a director's cut of this game, what would you pay for that?
Oh, you mean like if they did a mea culpa and tried again?
If they essentially added in most of the stuff they cut out, if they changed the scripted sequences into full gameplay, if they like expanded it, they called it director's cut, what would you pay for that?
Wow. Well, I'll go, you know what? I won't think about it. The immediate number that popped into my brain is 30 or 40 bucks.
Yep. That's how I feel. I probably would, I wouldn't be, slathering at the mouth to get my hands on it, just because I know that, half of the game I didn't really like my big problem with this game is its incompleteness. So I would give it another shot if they charged a reasonable price for it.
I didn't even really think about that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that survey came out that survey came out because they know, they know it was mad.
I'm glad that they know.
You didn't see a survey come out when Resident Evil 2 sold like gangbusters and everyone said Capcom is the shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No.
They didn't do that.
And what I'm saying is, I'm glad that they know, because
Me too.
many other companies wouldn't put out a survey even.
No, I understand. I'm with you 100%. And I think I saw on Twitter or social, they got the message that the consensus was it's too short. You cut content where you should have expanded, and it's meh.
Right.
They got it.
Yep. All right. Message received. So let's move on with our lives. That was just a weird idea that I had that, maybe someday we'd experience like the ideal version of that game, but
I think they missed the opportunity.
It has not yet to happen.
Yeah.
So I would like to get into our epilogue here a little bit, where this is, it's kind of very woven into the DNA of this program that we talk about Resident Evil, and there have been significant updates since we last spoke about it. So we touched upon one of these things during our catch-up episode, but I first want to talk to you about how a 4 remake is more or less confirmed.
Yeah.
And I would like to get your thoughts on that. I would like to get your thoughts on how they skipped over Code Veronica, which is really funny.
I'm not mad, but okay.
No, well, here's the thing. I think, this is how I feel about remaking movies and covering songs as well. If the original is not very good, then you have a better opportunity to capitalize on that and improve it, make it more consistent, whatever. So I think Code Veronica would be a better candidate for a remake than 4, because they are trying to make this series a lot more kind of grounded, like within
cutting
reason,
the stupid shit.
Yeah. So you may not have a terribly problematic cross-dressing villain. You might not have Steve be such a little piece of shit. You might just generally have a more coherent experience. And I think that those levels were pretty expansive, and they would be probably interesting to explore if they were reworked. So
yeah, was your question for me, how do I feel about the prospect of not Code Veronica, but the prospect of 4?
Yeah, because I was about to say that, they're remaking 4 because they know it's going to print money. And I don't know if Code Veronica would have the same level of fervor, maybe within the fan base, but not necessarily without, because everybody knows about Resident Evil 4 outside even the fan base.
Yeah, I laughed at the beginning of your statement because I think Code Veronica is bad. And it absolutely is. I agree with your mantra where if it's a weaker game, you have another shot here to really make it a good game and make good on it. But
it's my least favorite as it is. So
I might be like what's the word? When we did our reviews of the original ones, I don't remember which one I declared as my least favorite. It could have been Code Veronica. I do think it is my least favorite. And so, yeah, and it's what I was thinking about this as you were saying this, where we just did a survey. I'm laughing now. We just did a survey where Capcom said, what's the biggest problem with Resident Evil 3? And we said it's cut content. But I said, no, wait, don't remake Code Veronica because, yes, I want you to cut it. Like it's too long. And they're not
yeah, well,
gonna do that.
you could cut down on the fucking backtracking significantly.
No. It's just like, but we just told them don't cut it. But
Yeah.
no, wait. But if you remake Code Veronica, no, cut that one because it's like 40 hours long and it's fucking like abysmal.
Yeah.
But, no, I think you're right. I'll get right to the point. Yes, Code Veronica is a good candidate because it is not that good. Resident Evil 4, this is like a beloved game. This game is stupid, but like people love this game, and I like it too. And obviously, you know what? This is a good time to talk about this. Resident Evil 4 is one of my two games that I think ruined video games forever, even though it's a really good game. And
yes,
but
that
it is
in COD 4.
Yes, yeah, that in COD 4. But Resident Evil 4 is also a good candidate in one way. You can cut a lot of stupid shit. But people love it so much, I think they're not going to.
let me like talk about the problems with doing this and the opportunities. I think that people, myself kind of included, are kind of attached to how stupid some of the lines are. Yeah, and I would miss them a little bit if where's everybody going? Bingo? Like it's like fucking absurd.
Wait. I have one. You know what? Can I tell you what my one hope for Resident Evil 4 is? I have one. What? People love it. It's gonna print money. They love it. It changed video games forever. It's if they just remake it if they just faithfully remake it, I understand. There's one thing I want. Mm-hmm. At the end of the game, I do not want Ashley to proposition Leon for sex. Don't do that. Please. You can remake the entire game, all the stupid shit, roundhouse kicking people, and all the dumb shit. You can do it. Please cut that line from the game, and I will give it an A. Please, please.
All right, fair enough.
I hate that.
So my thing is like, I think they could have a really impressive. The first two acts of that game are I think they're pretty much right themselves as far as a remake goes, but they really got to fucking workshop that last level.
You're talking about the island.
Yeah,
it's where the game gets too stupid. Everybody has guns. It's kind of industrial and weird.
It's just like there's no personality to it. There's no horror anymore. It's just they got to redo it.
I'm
they got to really because
the village is fucking awesome. It's the best part of the game.
Yeah, and I think with a remake, the castle could be sufficiently creepy too.
I'm with you. Yeah,
they boost the atmosphere a little bit, but that is in the works. Presumably, well, who knows now? But it was initially expected within the next couple of years. So I hope they don't phone that one in.
I mean, dude, that game prints money. It almost makes me think they shouldn't do it, even though they're gonna do it. But it's one of those games I don't think you're gonna please anybody because it's a beloved game.
It depends because 2 was really, really well done. So
that's true. That's true. But you know what I mean, though? Even though we like Resident Evil 2 and so do the fans, Resident Evil 4 is the game that everybody played, even if they played none of the others.
Well, they have to really knock it out of the park in the way that it seems the Demon Souls remake is doing.
Ooh,
you need
baby.
that.
Hey, Blue Point Games, you want to remake a game?
you want to fix this franchise?
Yeah, you want to remake Resident Evil now? Go for it.
I just wanted to ask you about in the way that they are trying to make this a yearly franchise. I mean, we talked a little bit about maybe they know that they fucked up with this one. Does it shake your faith in them moving forward significantly?
No, because of the survey.
Okay. Well, I guess that's mission accomplished on their part.
Yeah,
then.
Because like you said, I've never seen someone do that.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's one of these things they know. Why'd they do a survey? They know.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just wanted to, because we're probably not gonna talk about this until it actually comes out. But the seemingly next year is going to be Resident Evil 8.
Great. I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for the Bloodborne game, whatever it is. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks terrific. We talked about this. I was a little concerned that since they are working on it in tandem with 4, that it was going to look exactly the same because it's called Village and 4 has a village as well, but it looks completely different. And it looks like it's got its own vibe, its own personality. I appreciate their swinging for the fences by doing werewolves this time.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate it. Like with Resident Evil 7 was a risk, and I think they pulled it off, and I'm ready for this too.
Yeah, no, it's. I was saying that I think on a previous episode that whenever they choose a new kind of genre of horror to draw from, it's a huge success. Like whenever they reinvent it, because the original, you got the zombies, then you have kind of the infected town in 4, then you have the fucked up family in 7, and now you have kind of this Victorian. I think there's like some witches and Draculas running around in the trailer. We'll see. Looks pretty cool. But I'm really looking forward to the future. If they, hopefully they don't bungle the other. I mean, I don't see them remaking anymore after 4.
Yeah, leave my beloved 1 alone.
Leave my beloved 5 and 6 alone.
Oh God. Oh no.
Jeez. It kind of feels like they're trying to rewrite the history of the franchise to make it less stupid.
Wait a minute. Don't we say that on every episode? Can they just make these games we like less stupid?
It seems like they're trying.
What's the main thing? I don't, because we've said this so many times. I don't remember if I originated this or you did. They just need a guy in there who says no to stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, should Ashley proposition Leon for sex? No.
I think a lot of creatives could benefit from such a man, and I'd like to submit my candidacy as one. I think I could be that guy. I could say no.
Should Leon run up a wall and jump over a laser? No.
That would conflict me because it's awesome.
I know, but it's not realistic. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Lastly, I wanted to get into some of the the multimedia projects we got going on here, because there is a really stupid sounding Netflix series coming out about Albert Wesker's children. Neither of which are the one from Resident Evil 6, which I found interesting.
That's hilarious. It's
the same production company as the previous movies. And it sounds like dog shit. And I was just like, we were talking about it. I commented on their posts just out of frustration. Not even like I didn't expect to get seen or anything, but I was just like, what were you guys thinking? Like, like, who are you hoping to rope in with this? This is nothing. This has you're just using the fucking IP to sell this shit story. And I was like, and I said to you, why don't they just start over and adapt the original games? It's a nice little simple story. And you messaged me, hey, guess what they're doing? And holy shit, they are working on an adaptation. I believe the mission statement is the first 2 games in the series, basically just putting that to film. I don't know if this movie is going to be good, but I really want to see it.
Dude, I couldn't, I'm sorry to talk over you. I could not believe how prophetic that was of you, where you said, dude, why don't they just do the story of the first and second game and put it to film and everyone would love it? And I said, holy shit, they're doing that. Yeah. And I'm with you where I don't know if it's going to be good. Probably not, but I would love to see that. And holy shit, we're going to get it.
Just watch those events from a different perspective and just for the novelty of it, really.
Have you seen the some people took candid footage in Canada?
I got really excited. Well, I with respect to it being any good, I did like the director was like, I just wanted to take it back to basics and get back to the heart of the series, which is Raccoon City and the mansion incident. And I was like, okay, so he kind of gets it, at least, He's it's not. I
mean, that's the best direction I've heard for a movie, like a video game movie ever, besides Detective Pikachu, I guess. So I mean, you know what, dude? Let me say this. I can actually end my statement here. What else would you want him to say? That's exactly what you and I asked for.
Yeah.
Just what's the understand the franchise and give it a shot.
That's it. Just yeah, shit, man. No, I did see those candid photos. There is a very faithful looking RPD front, kind of archway outside the front of the RPD office. and a Raccoon City sign on like a bridge. I think they're filming it somewhere in Canada.
They are. Did you
And-
see the video of them doing the truck sequence of it crashing into Leon and Claire?
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, I saw them filming that.
I just got excited when I saw that, and I was like, maybe there is hope. Maybe I will look forward to something after all.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that was
Jeez.
that for sure. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
That's big news. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the future of Resident Evil still, in spite of what we just discussed.
Yeah.
To put a pin on it.
Yeah.
Do you have any other final thoughts?
No, I mean, I'll put a pin in it. I thought Resident Evil 3 was very meh. I am ready for Village, and if they remake 4, I'm fine. I'm probably going to spend money on it and play that too. And
Yep.
I'm looking forward to this movie where they're just going to reshoot 1 and 2, and that's all I got for you.
And that's the way the Resident Evils, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Resident Evil. Yeah, that's my neighbor, dude. That's
Yeah, my
Resident
neighbor, my downstairs neighbor. Holy shit. Yeah. All right. So, as we like to say on this show,
Can we all get over the goddamn GameCube, please? And we'll see you
Amen.
guys. We'll see you guys next time.